Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my March wrap up. In March, I think I finished 4 books. I think I was continuing to read like another 4 or 5 books. I read a lot, but I didn't complete very much at all, but we didn't have any DNFs. So March was definitely a win, even though it was only 4 books that I finished. And I've got several that I'm still finishing. The first one I finished was Iron Flame. This one is book 2 to Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing is a book about Violet Sorrengail, who is kind of thrust into this Dragon Rider Academy. She didn't want to be there. She wasn't going to go because she has this frailer body and she breaks constantly. Her ligaments tear a lot. So being a Dragon Rider is not very feasible for her body. So she wasn't going to do it. Well, her mom was like, too bad. So she throws her in as a Dragon Rider. So now she's training. And this world is very brutal. They fight you and kill you if they think that you're a weak link. They'll try and kill you in the hallways, whatever. Nobody bats an eye. They'll spar with you and kill you. Nobody bats an eye. It's wild. And then on top of that, you have these obstacles that a lot of times are you either make it through the obstacle or you die. Or the dragons can kill you at whim, and you have to try and like bond a dragon, and you may or may not bond one because there's less dragons than there are riders or potential riders. So if you don't bond one, then you have to repeat and do everything all over again. So even if you go through all the obstacles the first time and then you die the second round, oh well. It's wild. I love the characters in the story. I loved book 2. Book 2 was fantastic. Book 2 is continuing on from where book 1 left off, where we're dealing with some of these political things and potential lies that we're being fed, and how we respond to everything in book 1. Book 2 is kind of like the consequence of the stuff that happened in book 1, of course. And we're dealing with a lot of new things and new people and new allies and new enemies, and trying to deal with all of that. And we're dealing with relationship issues, and it's just a lot. Like, so much happens in this book, and it was so much fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I already have a video uploaded because I love this book so much. So if you want more details, go check out that video. There were several really good twists in this, and the ending was exactly what I needed it to be. It was heartbreaking, but exactly what it needed to be. I couldn't have asked for a better ending for this book too. Like, I'm such a weirdo because I tend to love book 2s more than the other books. So I don't know. Like, right now for me, it's definitely very like even with book 1 on how much I loved it. So we'll see if that changes at all. Upcoming, I am going to read Onyx Storm fairly soon, probably in May. So we'll see, because I do tend to love books 2 and 3 more than anything. So this could get really fun. The next book I finished was Do Not Disturb. This is book 2 to Girl in 6E. Girl in 6E, we're following this girl, Deanna, and she is a cam girl. So she just performs explicit acts online for money. She does chat rooms, she does lots of video chats and things like that. And in book 1, she discovers that one of her patrons is potentially a PDF file, and she has to do what she does in order to figure out if he actually is, and protect this potential little girl from not being a victim. And Deanna is suppressing or resisting, I don't know, one of the two, her desires to kill people. She thinks about killing people all the time. And what makes her very different is that she is very aware of this and she doesn't want to kill anyone. So she locks herself in her apartment 24/7, hasn't left in like 3 years. She unlocks the door during the day, and then at night she has her neighbor lock it every day without fail, because her desires are worse at night. So, book 2, we're following a whole new set of like people, not people, but like it's a new plot. Like, you can read book 2 separate from book 1 and be mostly fine. Like, you would be able to catch up. So, you don't it's not a continuation of the same story. It's more like episodic with like just a little bit of things that are like in both. That makes any sense at all. But anyways, so in book 2, we are following her as she's dealing with this dude who is trying to get her to meet him in person, and he is not a nice dude. He is definitely very evil, and she's been resisting him, but he's going to figure out how to find her. So that's the story going into book 2. Did we need this book? Not at all. I definitely didn't need this book. Did I enjoy it? It was okay. Like, I completely forgot a plot line. Like, we finished the book, or like the big story of the book, and then we had like an hour or two left, and I'm like, what? Why? It's because I forgot a plot line. So let that tell you, how great it was. It was fine. It was mid, I guess. I don't know. I may not read book 3 because apparently there's a book 3. I might not. It's kind of up in the air right now. I do like Deanna. I like her as a character, and I am very interested in her desires to kill people. And I'm interested to see like where she goes going into the next one based on things that happen in this one. But I don't know how much I'm interested. So we'll see. The third one I finished is Frida McFadden's The Housemaid. This one I am reading for a vlog that I'm doing on Frida McFadden. I'm reading several of her books. This was the first one that I finished. In The Housemaid, we are following Millie. Millie has been hired as a housemaid for Nina and Andrew. And Nina and Andrew are super rich. They have a really nice house. They have a little girl. They are like the picture perfect family, right? Well, when Millie gets hired, the house is disgusting. Like, overnight, this house is just trashed. And so Millie is like, what in the world happened? And she starts working for Nina, and Nina will be like really nice to her, and then she'll be like really mean to her, and she seems really crazy. Meanwhile, Andrew seems like really calm and like level headed and just really seems to love his wife and things like that. And then Millie ends up really hating Nina and really, really liking Andrew and starts developing feelings for him and really like a thirst over this dude. And then there are some twists that happen and turns into like it's a psychological thriller. And I really can't tell you anything else because everything that happens after that mid book twist, and that's where all the fun is. So I can't tell you anything else. But I can tell you that it was fine. It was much better than expected. I have read similar plots in other books, and so I was able to guess the sort of direction that the book was going in. I even told my friend because she was reading it, or she'd already read it before and she loved it. And I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. And she's like, what do you mean you saw that coming? Like, I've read this before. And I didn't really like the characters at all. That was my biggest complaint, is that I didn't like the characters at all. And I just didn't buy a lot of the things that were happening. And I think that that's why I didn't like fully like it, because I wasn't sucked in. When I read books that were similar, like I was really sucked in, but this one didn't really suck me in. I wasn't like super interested in it until after we hit that midway point when things started like actually happening. And so the beginning of it is just real like, okay, whatever. So if you like it to be slow and then it picks up and like stomps the gas, then you might really enjoy this. Um, yeah, that's really all I have to say. The next one I finished was The Nightingale, and this one follows two sisters during World War II. We have Isabel, who is feisty and a rebel, and we have her sister Vienne, who is a mother, and she's very steady and stable, and she's been married forever and puts her family first, and she doesn't muddy the waters at all. She's very like straight and narrow of whatever she's supposed to do, right? Well, we see them as kind of like growing up just a little bit, just like quick snippets. And we see them before the war and how they've been interacting with their family and their dad. Their dad's a big part of this. And we're seeing them who they are in their real lives before everything happens, which I think was really good because then we got to like connect with them a little bit. I had a hard time piecing them apart in the beginning, which I mean, that's normal. But I ended up Googling like the character list and like looking at characters and like who they were. And it was much easier for me to keep them apart after that. So I don't know if it was just the timing of the story when you start to figure it out, or if it was with me doing that with the characters. I have no idea. But I really liked Isabel. Isabel is very feisty and she is not going to lay down. She's like, I'm going to do what I want to do and you're not going to stop me. I liked Vienne more as the story went on. I just don't connect to mothers as much as I do others. I don't know. I think it's just because I don't have any desire to be a mother, so it probably just doesn't like connect at all. But I definitely liked her more as the story went and things got a lot tougher and she was having to start making some tough decisions. And I love when characters have to make really tough decisions. So I think that that really connected me to her, especially when she started making specific types of decisions. I really enjoyed the different perspectives in this. I really love the fact that we got the day to day stuff before we got anywhere near like the concentration camps, because I think a lot of books that I've read, they tend to they build up a little bit, but then they're quick to go into the camps and they talk a lot about like the day to day in the camps. Whereas this one, we didn't get to the camps until much, much later. And so we got to see a lot of the day to day stuff and how the war was affecting people on the daily. Like there were ration cards and having to stand in lines and not being able to get any food, or they only allowed to get certain things, and their clothes being too big for them and them having to hem them in, or them not having certain items anymore because they're having to sell them, or the Germans coming in and infiltrating their homes and living with them. Like we got to see how that impacted every single day for their lives, like just everyday people. I also really liked the slow progression of everything. Like we saw where the Germans infiltrated the town and then slowly started to get information on the Jews and then started making the Jews wear the stars, and then after that then they started deporting, and we saw that progression in the day to day, and people were missing, and we saw how those things were impacting the characters that we were following and their relationships. And it was just really interesting seeing that progression and really dragging that out so that we really got to like sit in all of those changes. I also really enjoyed the discussion of how much do you stand and watch and how much do you keep your head down versus at what point do you start to fight back and you start to make waves, and how much is that worth it, especially when you have young children, and those young children are growing up really quickly in this world and having to be more informed and not able to be like children anymore because they're having to deal with this massive, massive trauma that they're living in every day. I really love those discussions, and I really love the discussions of how everyone was affected, from the children that had nothing to do with anything to the Jewish children to the parents to prisoners of war, and even within the soldiers, because we had some sort of relationship with some of these soldiers and some of these rebels, and I really enjoyed them discussing like the dangers of war and how that impacts love and relationships and things like that. My one thing is that it didn't break me. I have heard how much Chris and Hannah makes everyone emotional, and like this is the book that does it. I didn't get emotional. I could see why other people get emotional with this one, but I didn't, and I really, really wanted to get emotional. So I'm a little bummed about that, but it's okay. I mean, I really love the characters and it was a great story, and so I'm glad that I read it, even though I didn't cry. I am going to keep reading Chris and Hannah. I think I'm going to read The Great Alone next, so stay tuned for that. Books that I am currently reading and may or may not finish in the next week or so, or in April at all. One is Best Served Cold. Still reading that. May not finish before April because I'm so slow. I'm also reading Made for Each Other, which I will probably finish in the next few days. I am also reading Crime and Punishment, which maybe May when I finish it too. It's on ebook, so it's going to take a while. And I'm also reading When the Moon Hatched, and that one I should finish no later than mid April. So stay tuned for next month's wrap up for that one. Well, that is all the books that I've read and I've continued reading in the month of March. What have you been reading? What was your favorite book of the month? Oh, I got to do book of the month. I mean, do we even have to think about it? It's going to be Iron Flame. Of course. Iron Flame was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So there we go. Now we can end the video. Tell me, what have you been reading? What was your favorite book of the month? Did you forget to do a book of the month? I mean, I can't be the only one, right? Well, I'll see you in the next one.